Well, if you don't believe me, if you don't believe a single word I say, there seems very little point in my telling you anything.
Now, wait a minute. Let's get this straight. I'm not disputing the fact you went to this pub. In any case, your story can be checked with the barman and this other man you saw pen. What I don't understand is why you had to go there in the first place.
I've already told you why, to see Mrs. Lincoln.
Why didn't she come here, to the flat? What was the point of meeting in a pub?
Well, I don't know. The pub was her idea, not mine.
You asked to come here, she refused. So you arranged to meet her in the saloon bar of the Golden Plough. That's your story, Kerry?
That is what happened, sir. It's not just my story.
We finished, sir. We've got everything we want.
Right.
What happened, Ed? How was she killed?
Well, she was hit on the back of the neck, like this. My God, he must have hit her.
What about relatives, next of kin? Is there a Mr. Lincoln?
No, he died about 10 years ago. I think there's no immediate family. There's a nephew, Leonard Lincoln. He's with the Storm Insurance Company.
In London?
Yes, I think so.
All right, leave that to me. I'll see you in the morning, Ed.
All right, sir.
He doesn't believe me, Ed. He doesn't believe a single word I say. Come in, Mr. Lincoln. I've been expecting you.
Kerry, is this true about my aunt? Is it really true?
Well, yes, I'm afraid it is. Please, come in.
God, I just can't believe it. A man called Bromford, Superintendent Bromford, came to see me. A big chap.
Yes, I know.
I was in bed. I make a point of having one early night a week. And Kerry, what happened? What the hell happened?
Come in the living room. I'll get you a drink. Well, what would you like?
Nothing. I don't drink. Kerry, what happened tonight?
Well, didn't the superintendent tell you?
He said you'd arranged to meet my aunt in a pub in Barnes. He said you kept the appointment, but she didn't turn up. Then when you got back here, you found my aunt in your bedroom. Dead. Murdered.
Well, that's true. That is exactly what happened.
But I just don't understand this. When I spoke to my aunt,
Mr.
she
Lincoln,
said...
would you please sit down? There's something I'd like to tell you. You see, your aunt and I, we never hit it off. I mean, I wasn't sorry when she decided to get another job, to be frank with you. I never really liked her. I don't think she liked me, but I didn't kill her, Mr. Lincoln.
Good God, I never thought you did. It never entered my head. And you're absolutely wrong when you say my aunt didn't like you. She was very fond of you, Kerry. Both you and your father. But there's something about tonight I just don't understand. Something which just doesn't add up.
What do you mean?
After I saw you, I telephoned my aunt and said you'd got the collar back, Midge's collar, and that you were prepared to give it to her. She was delighted.
Go on.
This afternoon, she phoned me back unexpectedly. She said she'd spoken to you, that you'd been charming to her, and that she was coming round here to see you.
She said she was coming here, to the flat.
She said you'd ask her round sometime this evening for a drink.
But that isn't true.
That is what she told me, Kerry.
Did you tell the superintendent this?
But of course I did, my dear fellow. What else could I tell him?
Hello, Doug. You're early this morning. I take it you've heard the news?
Yes, Jack, this is terrible.
When did you hear about it?
About an hour ago. We were having breakfast when suddenly your friend Ed Royce dropped in on us. My God, he's a different sort of chap when he's on the job, isn't he? You'll hardly believe it, but he questioned me for half an hour.
I'll believe it.
When did I first meet Mrs. Lincoln? When did I last see her? What sort of a woman was she? Did I get on with her? Did you get on with her?
Doug. I'm sorry there's no coffee. I didn't make any this morning.
Jack, I know it's none of my business.
Sit down.
Jack, do you think this murder and the Delaney affair, do you think they could have anything to do with, well, with what happened to your father?
Yes. Yes, I do. What's on your mind, Doug?
Well, I know something about your father. I don't honestly think it's got anything to do with this business, but, well, I swore I'd never say anything. I promised him...
What is it, Doug?
Your father was having an affair with someone. A married woman. I discovered it quite by accident. I went down to Worthing one weekend and they were staying at the same hotel.
Go on.
Well, your father ignored me the whole of that weekend. He It was as though he'd never seen me before. Then in the office on the Monday morning, he told me about it. He said he'd known this woman for some little time and that she was married, her husband was an invalid, and there could be no question of a divorce. He asked me to say nothing of this affair to you or anyone else. Naturally, I agreed.
Did he tell you who she was?
No. He simply referred to her as Iris. But her name's Bannister. I discovered that since.
How?
She telephoned me.
When was this?
The day before yesterday. She said although we'd never met, she'd heard about me from your father. And she wondered if I could help her at all.
Help? In what way?
Well, apparently, one night while she was out with your father, her pearl necklace broke. So your father sent the necklace away to be restrung. She doesn't know where he sent it. She wondered if I could find the receipt.
Did you find it?
No. I've searched everywhere. It's not in the office, and it certainly isn't in his desk.
Well, supposing you had found it, what did she want you to do with it?
I was to post it to a hotel in Aldborough.
Oh, I see. Is that why you borrowed the AA book from Liz?
Yes. Mrs. Bannister told me the name of the hotel. I promptly forgot it. I remembered it, of course, as soon as I saw it in the book.
Well, thanks, Doug. Thank you for telling me that.
That's all right, Jack. In view of what happened, I thought...
So, Mr. Croft, we meet again.
Good morning.
This is Douglas Croft. He's been looking after the shop for me since my father died.
Yes, I know. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, if you'll excuse me, I've rather a lot to do this morning.
Yes, all right.
We'll see you later in the shop.
Yes, sure.
Jack.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay.
May I sit down?
Please.
My feet are killing me this morning. You always hear these corny old jokes about policemen and their feet, but by God, they're true. I saw Mr. Lincoln last night, the nephew.
Yes, I know. I've seen him too.
Then you know about the phone call, the one he had from his aunt.
Yes, I do. It's not true.
You mean you don't believe Lincoln? You don't think his aunt did phone
Yes, I
him
think she
and tell-
did phone. And I think she told him she was coming here, but she just wasn't telling the truth.
Why should she lie about a thing like that?
I don't know why, sir. I wish I did, but she did lie, and we've got proof of it.
Proof, Jack?
Yes, she phoned the pub and left a message for me. Now, why should she do that if we'd arranged to meet here?
Someone phoned the pub and left a message, Kerry. We're not certain it was Mrs. Lincoln.
The barman didn't know her. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
a
well,
voice
for
on the
God's
phone.
sake. If you're going to doubt every single... Hello. Yes, he's here. He's just arrived. It's for you. It's your office.
Yes. May I take it in the bedroom?
Yes, of course.
Kerry, if I remember rightly, you told me that Mrs. Lincoln was working at the Royal Plaza.
Well, that's what she told me, sir.
She was staying there as a guest. She had a room on the 10th floor. She booked it for 5 weeks. It was costing her £3.15 a day without meals.
Well, how could a woman like Mrs. Lincoln afford money like that?
I don't know.
Does her nephew know about this?
He does now. Ed told him this morning.
Well, what did he say?
He was puzzled, very puzzled. Like you, he was under the impression his aunt was working at the hotel.
Well, I just don't understand this.
Neither do I. But then, there are a lot of things I don't understand. I wish to God you put me in the picture, Kerry.
Me?
Yes, you. In my opinion, you're holding out on me. You haven't told me the truth. You haven't told me the truth about anything.
Well, I told you the truth about the Bannisters, and what happened? You didn't believe me.
But how could I believe when the Bannisters denied the story and your check was found on Delaney? And all that damn nonsense about Charles Bannister in a wheelchair. When I spoke to Inspector Everson about it, he laughed himself silly.
Yeah, well, it's the truth, nevertheless, and I'll tell you something else about the Bannisters, something else you won't believe.
Go on.
She was having an affair with my father.
Mrs. Bannister was?
Yes.
Who told you this?
Doug Croft. He spent a weekend at Worthing, and Iris Bannister and my father were in the same hotel.
Is he sure about this?
Yes, he is, sir. There is no doubt about it.
Did Croft actually meet Mrs. Bannister? Were they introduced to each other?
No, but she phoned him recently. About a pearl necklace my father was supposed to be having restrung for her. She didn't know what had happened to it, and she thought the receipt might be in the office. Doug might have got it for her.
Was it in the office?
No, it wasn't.
Kerry, do you think that Mrs. Lincoln knew about this, about your father and Mrs. Bannister?
Yes, I do, and I'll tell you something else, too. Doug Croft says that Mrs. Bannister's husband was an invalid.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, what is it, Ed?
Well, there's been a message for you from Inspector Everson.
Dick Everson, what's he want?
Well, I only got the message at second hand, sir, but I gather that he wants to talk to you about a wheelchair.
Everyone dead around here? Or is it the coffee break?
Hello, Hal. Come along in. Nice to see you. Sit down. Would you like some coffee?
I'd love a cup of tea.
Good idea. Baker, we want some tea. No tea. And wipe that grin off your face.
Got your message, Dick. What's it all about?
Well, something happened last night, or rather early this morning, that I thought might interest you.
Something to do with the Bannisters?
Yes.
I thought so. I've just seen them. They were driving away just as I arrived.
Yes, that's right.
What is it, Dick? What's happened?
Their house was broken into. And in spite of the fact it's full of stuff, and pretty valuable stuff, I should say, nothing was taken. No, I'm sorry, that's not strictly true. A pearl necklace was stolen, belonging to Mrs. Bannister. But that's all.
When did this happen?
About 1:30 this morning. The Bannisters were away. They were down at Aldborough.
Yes, they told me they were going there.
One of our chaps noticed the gate open. And since we've had one or two break-ins recently, he decided to look around. Well, to cut a long story short, the place was ransacked. It was utterly impossible, of course, for us to tell whether anything was missing. I telephoned the Bannisters, and they arrived home, not in the best of tempers, I might add, at about 4 o'clock.
Go on, Dick.
Well, this is the curious point. This is why I sent for you. When I first went over the house about 2 o'clock, I saw something in one of the bedrooms which, in view of our recent conversation, immediately aroused my curiosity. I don't have to tell you what it was.
A wheelchair?
Right. It was in a cupboard, sort of built-in wardrobe, the door of which had been broken open. Well, the Bannisters arrived home, and about 8:30 I drove down there again. Things were still a bit higgledy-piggledy, but they tidied up quite a bit considering the mess they were in. They said, as far as they could tell, nothing was missing. It was on the tip of my tongue to mention the chair when suddenly, for some reason or other, I don't know why, I changed my mind. And I asked Bannister if I could look over the house again. He agreed. And for 15 minutes we wandered all over the place.
Did you go into this bedroom, the one with
Yes, we did. We went in the bedroom and I made a point of showing him the cupboard. The chair wasn't there. It had gone.
Gone.
Yes, it had disappeared. Obviously, someone had taken it away. And taken it away after the burglary. After I'd seen it, in fact.
Did you make any comment?
Not about the chair. I simply asked Bannister to take a good look in the cupboard and tell me if anything was missing. He said, no, everything's just the same, Inspector. Nothing's been taken. Those were his exact words.
Thank you, Dick. What about the pearl necklace?
Well, that's a new development. I've only just heard about it myself. The Bannisters dropped in 15 minutes ago. Mrs. Bannister says she's now discovered a pearl necklace is missing, and she gave me a description of it. I must say, it seems a little odd to me that someone should break into a house full of very valuable objects, and just pinch a pearl necklace.
Did she say how much this necklace is worth?
Yes, about £300. But it's the wheelchair that puzzles me.
You're not the only one, Dick.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Carey. I've been expecting you. I thought you'd be dropping in on me sometime this morning.
I expect you've seen a colleague of mine, have you?
Yes, Superintendent Bromford, I think his name was. He called very early, before I was open, in fact. He wanted to know if I'd seen you last night.
What did you tell him?
I told him I had, of course. I said we bumped into each other at the Plough. But what's all this about, Mr. Carey? He said it was something to do with your housekeeper, but he was frightfully evasive.
Mrs. Lincoln, my housekeeper, or rather my ex-housekeeper. She was found murdered last night.
Murdered? Good God, where? Where did it happen?
In my flat.
Oh, what an appalling thing. Have you any idea?
No, Mr. Penn, I'm in rather a hurry. I wonder if you could answer just one or two questions.
Anything I can do to
Well, who
help
was
you?
that girl? The girl you were with last night?
Oh, yes. Her name's Doreen Osborne.
She a friend of yours?
Good gracious, no. I do assure you that most of my friends are quite well. We bumped into each other from time to time, if that's what you mean, usually in the Plough.
Well, tell me all you know about her.
I don't really know anything about it, if you'll excuse me.
Now, Mr. Penn, I'm investigating a murder case. Now tell me all you know about Doreen Osborne.
I first saw her about 3 months ago in the Plough. She was cadging drinks and making eyes at everybody. Oh, dear, I thought she was a dreadful person.
Go on.
Then about a month ago, she came in here and bought a cat. Well, it's the Siamese cat you saw last night, and she's been popping in and out ever since. Sometimes she spends a great deal of money with me.
Is she well off?
Well, at the moment, she seems to have money to burn, but when I first saw her, I told you she was making up to people, cadging drinks.
Have you ever met a friend of hers, a girl called Kathy White?
No, never. But then I wouldn't. I don't know any of her friends. Look, I just told you. Doreen's not really a friend of mine.
Well, you had dinner together last night.
Yes, we did last night, but, well, it was rather awkward, Mr. Carey. You see, the day before, she'd come in here and spent quite a lot of money, and then last night when I met her in the Plough, she began talking about a little restaurant in Baker Street, and before I knew what had happened, we'd arranged to have dinner there.
Where does she live, do you know?
Where does she live?
Yes.
She has a flat in Defoe Mansion.
Where's that?
It's on the Carrington Road.
You been there?
No, never. Once. Twice, as a matter of fact.
What number, Defoe Mansions?
32, I think. Yes, 32.
Thank you, Mr. Fair.
Mel, this is Clegg. Listen, I'm outside Doreen's place. I've just delivered the passport. No, she's okay, but listen to this. I've just seen Jack Kerry. No, a minute ago. Yes, he's just gone in there. Well, she'd better play it cool.
All right, I'm coming. For God's sake, what are you trying to...
Morning. My name's Carey, Inspector Carey. Could you spare me a few minutes?
Well, it's a bit awkward, actually. I'm just going out. Got an appointment at the hairdresser's.
Well, it'll only take a few minutes. Besides, you look as though you've just come back from the hairdresser's.
Nonsense. It's all over the place. Terrible mess.
Could I come in? Just for a minute.
Well, okay, but I warn you, it'll only have to be for a minute.
What a delightful flat.
Oh, do you like it?
Yes, I do indeed.
Well, I'm sorry I can't offer you a drink, but really, there isn't time.
Yes, well, I'll tell you why I wanted to see you, Miss
I
Osborne.
think I know why. Kathy White.
Yes.
I nearly rang you last night, after I saw you in the Plough. But then I thought, you keep out of it, Doreen. Don't get mixed up in anything. You've always been a good little girl. Well, with reservations, of course.
But you do know Kathy?
Yeah, of course I know her. Well, I don't know her very well, but she stayed the night with me. The night Delaney died.
Where is she now?
Well, I don't know. And that's the truth, honestly, I don't know.
Now, look, Miss Osborne, I'll be frank with you. I'm in a spot. I have got to find Kathy White.
Look, Ducky, I've just told you. I don't know where she is. I haven't a clue. I haven't seen her since she did a bunk that night.
All right, I'll believe you.
Anyway, you're barking up the wrong tree. Oh, she didn't kill Delaney. He was her meal ticket. So why should she kill him?
Well, they had a row that night.
So what? I'm always having rows. Haven't knocked anyone off. Well, not yet.
Did you know Delaney?
Yeah, I knew him. Didn't like him much. Altogether too much of a smoothie for my liking. At first I thought he was a queer, but he wasn't.
Well, I'm sorry you can't help me. Sorry about the drink, too. Some other time, perhaps.
Why not? We're always open.
Well, in that case, I'll drop in some evening. When you've come back from the hairdresser's, perhaps.
You do that. But give me a ring first. Oh, sorry I couldn't be more helpful. About Kathy, I mean. But honestly, you're wasting your time. You really are. She didn't kill Delaney.
Well, who did?
Well, I don't know. But it wasn't Kathy. See you. Hello? Yes, just a minute. Yes, I did. Well, it would have looked a hell of a lot fishier if I hadn't asked him in. No, I played it cool. What? Oh, she's all right, but she's nervous. Yes, he did. It's It's very good. Photograph's excellent. No, I'm picking up the ticket myself. Oh, Mel, listen. Do you always have to send Clegg? I mean, couldn't it be somebody else, just for once? Like him. He's a flaming monster. Yeah, all right, I'll do that. No, there's no need. Oh, Mel, don't forget what I said about Clegg. Okay? Bye.
Hello, Kathy. How's life? Not too good by the look of things. You're getting a bit careless in your old age. Well, it's not a very good photograph, is it? It's not a very good passport, come to that. Where'd you get this bit of cardboard, Kathy? Mel Harris?
Give it to me.
Sure. You know what I'd do with it, don't you? I'd burn it.
I'm not interested in what you do with it.
Aren't you, Kathy? Aren't you really? Is that the gun you shot Delaney with?
I didn't kill Rupert.
And why are you running away?
Don't you know why?
Yes, I do know why. You're running away because somebody's convinced you we're going to charge you with that murder, whether you did it or not. Now, that's not true, Kathy. I told you before, you've only got to tell the truth and you'll be perfectly all right.
I don't believe you. Even if you believed my story, Ed Royce wouldn't.
Ed? Now, why shouldn't Ed believe you?
There's a room through the hall on the left. I want you to go into it.
Now, Kathy, I took a risk for you the other night. Now,
You heard what I said. Go into the hall.
I hope you know what you're doing. You know, if you use that passport and then
Do
they
as I
pick
tell
up,
you. Go into the hall.
All right, Kathy. All right, if that's what... Oh, Kathy!